Well, we thought we'd put this behind us last year, but Alex Palou has found himself in a big mess again. The photo here taken by Amber Pierce from Penske Entertainment. Now, in a story first reported by Jenna Fryer from the Associated Press, a letter was obtained by the AP sent by McLaren CEO Zak Brown to his Arrow McLaren employees. Brown told them that Palou had no intention of honouring his contract for next year. He added this was incredibly disappointing because they've invested a lot of preparation of Palou's expected arrival in 2024, lots of time, millions of dollars, and resources. And according to the AP, Brown was reassured multiple times by Palou since this year's Indianapolis 500 that he would join McLaren next year. Brown added that McLaren's belief, commitment, and investment and trust in Palou was misplaced, and it wasn't being reciprocated. In response to this situation, Chip Ganassi broke his silence. Chip Ganassi said this: "Anyone that knows me knows that I don't make a habit of commenting about contract situations. Subsequently, I have been quiet since day one of this story, but now I feel I must respond. I grew up respecting the McLaren team and their success. The management does not get my same respect. Alex Palou has been part of our team and under contract since the 2021 season. It is the interference of that contract from McLaren that began this process, and ironically, they are now playing the victim. Simply stated, the position of McLaren IndyCar regarding our driver is inaccurate and wrong. He remains under contract with CGR." Now, there's been additional fallout from this situation with Palou's management team, Monaco Increasement Managing, parting ways with him. They said that Monaco Increased Management is bitterly disappointed to learn about Alex Palou's decision to break an existing agreement with McLaren for 2024 and beyond. Together, we built a relationship that we thought went beyond any contractual obligation and culminated in winning the 2021 IndyCar crown and tracing a path to F1 opportunities. Life goes on, and we wish Alex all the best for his future achievements. Now, last year, the Palou conflict with Ganassi and McLaren went to the courtroom. He ended up getting a good deal from it. His expected final year driving for Ganassi 2023, McLaren F1 reserve / test driver, and what we believe to be a move to the McLaren family in 2024. Now, as Palou closes on his second NTT IndyCar Series championship, we may be heading to the courts for a second consecutive year. This year, we've seen Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri solidify themselves with the McLaren F1 team going forward. The Arrow McLaren IndyCar program has seemingly taken a step or two back this year, while Chip Ganassi Racing and Palou have been almost unstoppable in 2023. The link to the AP article is in the video description below. Jen, starting with you all today, and Kobe, with you, how much do you think the strong season and chemistry with Ganassi, a weaker Arrow McLaren IndyCar program, and the door seemingly shut on F1 played a role in Palou's decision to tell Zak Brown, thanks, but no thanks?
Yeah, and as we've seen this IndyCar season go on, I've been saying it since the early parts of the season. Why would Alex Palou want to leave Chip Ganassi Racing, considering the chemistry they've had and all of the race wins? And look what they're doing now. He could very well clinch the IndyCar championship after the next race at Gateway. And it really seems like that team has the right people in the right places. And Ganassi's been a top tier IndyCar team for a very long time now. So so that's why I was confused last year when I saw he was moving when we thought he was going to be moving to McLaren. The only reason why we thought that was possible because maybe an opportunity to race in Formula One. Now it doesn't look like that's going to be happening at all. And then looking at the Arrow McLaren program, as you mentioned, Josh, in IndyCar last year, it looked like it would have been a really good move for Palou to move over to Arrow McLaren. But this year, since they added another car full time, with Award, Rosenquist, and Alexander Rossi, it really seems like the team hasn't been the same at all. And Pato Award, we're running out of time to see him win a race in 2023. That has to be very frustrating for him since he is the de facto top driver at that organization right now. And when you compare Ganassi and Arrow McLaren's form this year, it's very clear that Chip Ganassi Racing is a place to be, and it seems like Aaron McLaren has some work to do to get back to where they were in 2023. So I really think that Palou's best bet right now, assuming the courtrooms don't get a little crazy, I think returning to Chip Ganassi Racing on a long-term deal where he's made one of the highest paid drivers in the IndyCar series is probably going to be his best bet here.
Good evening, everyone. Yeah, I have to agree with Kobe. I mean, since the Indy GP in May, he has been just so far above everybody else with that team, and it looks like that's the way it's probably going to stay for next season. But this, as you said, Josh, just the start of this whole thing, we thought we were done with this, and the mess continues at kind of the same sort of period in time as it broke last year in August. So these things come back around and bite you, and it looks like Palou, which we'll get to shortly, he's maybe a bit of his human side of reputation may have been a bit bitten by all of this. Interesting for Chip Ganassi, as he said in the statement, he does not talk about contracts in public. Interesting for him to come out and make that statement that he did over the weekend. Good evening to Adam, who says Alex Palou is he's smart staying with Chip Ganassi in 24. He'll be a contender next year. Well, it looks like if he does stay where he is, he'll be going into next season as a double and reigning and defending champion. Hello to Omi as well. Get your comments in with everything you've got to say about what we've got to say tonight in the chats as we go along. But yeah, looking like Palou potentially staying put, but reputation somewhat blighted.
Guys, we look at Palou's season by the numbers: 4 wins, 2 pole positions, 11 top 5s, has finished every single race, and every single time that's been within the top 10. And even if you look at the potential, even if you're making a jump to McLaren with the offer of potentially being an F1, how do you say no to departing from such a dominant program that you're with? So for me, it's almost a no-brainer for Alex Palou. I think in Zach Brown's defense, his 3 drivers have not done a fantastic job of, showing that they're an apples to apples project right now and can compete with Chip Ganassi if he were to stay in IndyCar, as much as I wish that was different. But honestly, I think there's no reason to be upset with Alex Palou at this decision. And if I'm Zach Brown, I should be kicking myself more than anyone.
Absolutely. And just flashing back to how all this drama started back in July 2022, Chip Ganassi Racing put out this press release stating that they exercised the team option to bring Palou back for 2023. Palou, of course, fired back with this response, accusing Ganassi of sharing information that he didn't approve of and made the decision to leave the team for personal reasons. Within minutes, McLaren put out a press release of its own welcoming Palou as a future McLaren driver, but they didn't specify what series he'd be racing in. Last year, Ganassi felt like Palou did them dirty, and now McLaren is the one who feels wronged by a driver, could be a 2-time IndyCar champion within the next month. Do you think this hurts Palou's overall reputation and makes it harder to trust him? Also, where do you see him driving in 2024?
It's genuinely so hard to give you even an estimate of that right now, Josh. And we look at some of the other records of what Zach Brown has done to incentivize this move for Palou with money and with, promises of that F1 reserve role. And I genuinely don't think this hurts Palou's reputation at all for me. If anything, it's the ability to chase where you're going to be successful and where hopefully you're going to be happy rather than where you're getting a fatter paycheck. I think that's just going to help how people see Palou in the public eye. I don't know what you guys think about that, but for me, I only see this right now as good things for Palou.
Yeah, I guess on some degree, he's been swayed with, look at this F1 drive, that, you know, this could be yours, and was kind of lent towards that by McLaren. And as a McLaren fan, and have been for a very long time, all of this stuff that was happening in the summer with Palou and Piastri, I was sick to death of McLaren.
It's embarrassing.
Last season, it was, Jackson. You're right. It was embarrassing for a well-respected historical organisation like McLaren to court all these drivers like they did throughout last summer. It was just shocking, really. Where he goes next year, if he's going to be in IndyCar, and there is still a room that he may switch to F1, but not with McLaren, he surely will be in the 10 car alongside Scott Dixon and another driver in the 8, if that's Marcus Ericsson or not, which we may get to later on in the show. But if he's standing in IndyCar, surely it makes the amount of success he's had this year, it has to make sense that he stays with CGR. It has to.
Yeah, Matt, totally agree with you. I think if Palou does stay in IndyCar, it'll definitely be with Chip Ganassi Racing. But as we're saying, we have to wait to see what the course decide if we get to that point. And that's where it looks like it's heading. Before I continue on, comment here from Matthew Owens. Glad to see you, Matthew. You said about Palou that he's got to win the Indy 500 before leaving IndyCar. He's come too close to leave, 2nd, 9th, and 4th in the last 3 years. Yeah, I really think we'll see Alex Palou at some point. If he continues to stay in IndyCar for the foreseeable future, he's going to get that Indy 500 crown. Like you said, he's too close, and he's really good at this track. And then you also said the Europeans here may be better to answer this on the prestige of an Indy 500 win by Europeans, but a Spanish driver has never won the 500. He's got a great chance to go down in Spanish sport and history. Yeah, that's a great point as well, Matthew. And speaking about Palou's overall reputation, I was reading an article on Motorsport.com talking about what happens next in the Palou saga. And according to this article written by Charles Bradley, it was saying one paddock insider said that Palou is a really great driver, but he screwed his own brand by doing this, and he better get used to driving for Chip Ganassi Racing for the rest of his career. So obviously, whoever this paddock insider is believes that Palou has hurt his reputation. And I'm actually gonna be like yes and no that Palou has hurt his reputation. And the reason why I say I believe he's kind of hurt his reputation is because when he's flip flop like this, it really makes you wonder, you know, if you're a potentially future employer or a sponsor, if you can really trust this guy to represent your brand to the best of your company. And I know you can blame it on the management and all of that, because at the time it seems like his management was very chaotic. But at the end of the day, you know, regardless of what your management do, you still have to bear responsibility for everything that happens to you. It seems like, you know, Palou seems to be on his way to a 2nd IndyCar championship, a top ride with Chip Ganassi Racing. As long as he stays with Ganassi, you know, everything should be fine. But like everything, when time passes, things seem to get better. So if there's a lot of damage to Palou's reputation from this, once we get like several years into the future, I really think all of that will certainly die down over time. But yeah, I really think that Ganassi is probably going to be his best bet for 2024, unless we see some unusual circumstances.
And I want to say, Kobe, some fantastic points there, and maybe I should rephrase that for what I said. Probably is looking great to the fans right now, maybe off of the Christmas cards of a couple of IndyCar teams outside of McLaren as well.